exciting to look at, but very important for us. This is our washroom. So obviously we have our machines going pretty much 24 hours a day. Towels, tea towels, mop heads, fleece blankets, and all of these are used when we start to get babies in. So these, we will have little litters of hedgehogs in here. So hedgehogs generally, if we're getting baby ones in that need feeding through the night, there are some staff that end up taking some home. So I took quite a few home this year. And it just means that someone is there to look after a smaller amount throughout the night, so we can keep a close eye on them rather than one person looking after all of them overnight. And they also get used to how different people feed them. So if it's the same person feeding them every time, they're more likely to be more comfortable when they're feeding and take more food. Whereas when it changes, they can get a little bit stressed and it can actually stop them from feeding. So we try and keep it the same person dealing with them.
It's very important keeping this place clean. It's a bit like in a regular hospital. If it's like one small problem with how clean this is, and then like that can cause so many problems to the animals.
Absolutely.
Like infections and things like that.
I mean, a lot of patients are coming in with things that can be passed to other animals as well, and some of them are zoonotic, so we can actually get them ourselves. So things like ringworm, hedgehogs can come in with ringworm. We can catch that and we can pass it on to other animals.
So how do you take care of yourselves when you're like
PPE?
PPE.
Yeah. So wearing gloves. So you saw when Meg was handling the hedgehog.
was handling the hedgehog.
We never use the same glove for 2 hedgehogs or 2 patients because we don't know what they've got. When we're feeding, we'll use different feeding equipment for each patient. Generally, if they're in a litter, so if we've got a hedgehog litter, we'll use the same equipment because they're all from the same litter. So if one of them has something, so if they have a parasite, they're all going to have it anyway. It will have been passed on because they're in the same litter. But any others, we would never use the same equipment for different litters. So everything is changed, washed, disinfected. Some of it we have to keep in disinfectants for longer as well, so it depends on what we're treating for. But PPE is really important to make sure we're not passing it on to humans or to other patients. So really important.
So this area might look really small because it is
small,
but
it's
very important for this.
We use the sink in here for actually cleaning anything like oiled birds. So if we get birds that have come in with things on their feathers, this is where we clean them. So we've got the shower here. We have actually got the floor drain as well. So if we're doing anything like swans, we can do them on the floor. But we've got things to clean here. So the most trusty thing for cleaning patients is fairy liquid. That is the most important thing. But we do have some specialist stuff just in case we need to break down any oils or anything that's quite sticky on feathers and fur. So that's what we use this for at the moment. But this is where we prep all of the food. So in spring, summer, it's a hive of activity in here, trying to get all the foods done at different times. It gets very hectic in here. But this is where we prep all the food. So whether it's outside animals or inside animals, everything's prepped in here. And then it either gets refrigerated or goes straight out to the patients.
So you got deer food here and like, I'm guessing you have a lot of hedgehog food here as well.
We have a lot of hedgehog
for this time
foods.
of year, you have a lot. This time.
So we actually make our own hedgehog food. So I don't know if you saw in reception, last year, we created Vale's hedgehog food. So as you go out into reception, you'll see some orange bags, and that's our own hedgehog food.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that. So you made it. You make it here.
Yeah, we've worked with a company that has helped us create it. And we then feed all of our hedgehogs on that food as well as wet food. So we don't just feed dry food, we give them wet food as well, so meaty dog or cat food. But yeah, we've got our own food that we feed.
You've got a lot of bird seeders.
Got a lot of birds.
And then you also have you have these nuts and seeds. And
we don't just feed things in the hospital. So you can see this one says field deer food. It's because we've got a herd of deer that stay in our field. And they're free roaming, so they can come and go as they please, but we feed them every day. So they actually stay here because they are coming to us for food all the time.
And so you got swan and duck food, and then...
That's Milo's food.
Yeah, Milo's food. In case you were wondering, Milo is the dog that they have here. It's a bit of company. He's a rescued dog from Turkey. He was a stray dog, and then he was brought here. He used to live in a foster family in the UK. Then he was brought here, and now he gives a bit of company to the staff.
Things like crickets or hoppers, so grasshoppers.
Yeah.
That will be fed to certain birds.
Yeah.
And we will sort through each and every one of these. So we have to make sure they don't have staples in. We have to make sure they're the right consistency. So different papers are kind of different thicknesses. So there's only certain newspaper we're able to use. And we use our industrial shredder, which is down there, to shred all of these newspapers every day. And that then goes in with all of our patients. So you'll see.
So what is it used for? Is it like
bedding?
Bedding.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it just means that we can get rid of it really easily. So we're not using lots of blankets and things. They don't need blankets, a lot of our patients. Some do. But things like hedgehogs, they will have just a mound of shredded paper in there. And it means they can burrow in, they can hide themselves, and they feel a lot more comfortable.
So it's a bit like a den that they like live in.
Yeah, exactly right.
Do you have to buy these, or are these like donations?
Donated. Thankfully, you can see how many we get through.
Yes, that was a lot.
Our supporters are brilliant.
How many members of staff do you have? Because sorting from newspaper to operating on animals, it sounds like a lot.
It is a lot.
How many staff members do you have?
So we have about 30 full-time members of staff.
Wow.
And that is not just here. We actually have 2 charity shops as well.
Oh yeah.
So that is.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I went down to the town, to the Tewkesbury.
Oh, we went to Tewkesbury one.
Yeah, and then I saw a charity shop there. Which
Brilliant. Yeah, that's our newest charity shop, and then we have one in Evesham as well.
So is that how? Is that like how you get some money for this place to run it? Yeah.
It makes the charity shops make up about 25% of our income. So we certainly couldn't do without them. But yeah.
That's good.